Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of Food, Wine, and Whiskey in Your Own Backyard. I'm Rob, your host, and I have a guest today I'm excited to talk to and kind of go over a couple of, well, a lot of things actually. This is going to be episode one of what we think will be two episodes, and in this episode we're going to talk about kind of what he's done, what he's created, and how we all get to enjoy it. And who's joining us today is Darryl Bowman. Darryl, how you doing?
Doing well, man. Thanks for having me.
Darryl's with, we call it BWR, but it's Bad Wine Reviews.
Yes, sir.
And before we get into that, I want to talk to you a little bit about, I think I'd be remiss if I didn't. Yesterday there was a football game on.
Yes, sir.
And I think Gus gets an extension now. I mean,
No.
that's a big win.
Man, I hope he does not get an extension. He shouldn't.
Beat Alabama.
Yeah, but that shouldn't guarantee you an extension. He dropped three games this year that were extremely winnable, and that's just, he's an almost coach. Everything is an almost with him. So.
And Auburn, are you kind of just you're a fan, or would you?
No, I'm rabid.
I know
fan.
you are. I know
Yeah.
people in BWR know this. That's why I wanted to bring it up.
Oh yeah, rabid.
I had some fun being out there with you yesterday at your house doing a little bourbon share and
yeah.
getting to see you react to some of the plays. And
Yeah, I
some
kept
of
it together except for that one last little outburst I had, but it's okay.
Yeah, I just wanted to bring that up. So let's jump into it.
All good, man.
Let's jump into it. I've been a member of Bad Wine Reviews, I guess, for almost a year now. Something like that. How long have you had it?
So it started in April of 2018.
Okay.
After I was looking for some reviews on some I think bourbon, and every review that I came across was just so droll and so over the top, pompous and boring that it's like it would be nice to have something a little different, something a little tongue in cheek and a little more playful, I guess. And so it started with the belief of more like just pure satirical, and what I wanted to do was only review high-end stuff, but review it horribly. And then eventually I realized that eventually I'd run out of high-end stuff financially.
Yeah, exactly.
So I had to kind of turn it around to everything.
Okay.
So.
And for me, when I first joined, I didn't know what to expect, but anything related to wine at that time I was trying to find, especially locally, and you being kind of local to the Houston area, I was wanting to get into that. And when I first saw the name of your group, I actually thought it was Bad Wine Reviews. And I'm like, all right, let me find out what's the crap I don't want to buy.
Yeah.
And turns out it's not that.
Yeah. My wife has kind of kicked me a few times, and she's like, "You should have done a name change way back when." And I'm like, "That's fair," but but yeah, no, that's most of the time people they're like, "So this is bad wine that you review," and I'm like, "Yeah, some of it, yeah, some of it ends up being terrible."
Read a few, yeah,
oh yeah,
yeah, absolutely. No, but it is cool that you're able to make fun of yourself, I guess, if you want to call it that, or laugh at yourself.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, you're knowledgeable about wine, but you don't take yourself too seriously. You're not trying to say that what you say is, that's like me speaking and you listen and go do what I tell you to do about this wine. You understand that everybody still has their own palate. They're going to like what they like. Here's just your thoughts on what you're drinking tonight.
Yeah. Alcohol is very personal. It's an art. We're not all going to like the same thing. I think there now if you go across an entire spectrum of hate everything, well then, man, it's a you problem. But I mean,
right.
I've had highly rated wines that I did not care for, and I've had low rated wines that I just absolutely loved, and so that's the beauty of it. But yeah, we try to have fun with it. It's again like
you definitely do that.
It's alcohol. I mean, it's not for me, it's not meant to be serious. My lifeblood does not depend upon alcohol. So
how long have you been into wine?
So I originally started with like cognac and Armagnac, way like in the mid 2000s, really getting into it. So that's probably my number one thing. But I started getting into wine pretty heavily in about like 2008, 9.
Okay.
Right around that time. So
you're kind of right there with me, other than you're probably several years younger than me, so I'm a little jealous that you get that little bit of a head start. But
I've seen your fridge. I think I'm way behind.
No. But no, I asked that question because I think it's cool that you got into wine and you like wine, and what about that drove you to, I know you said you were looking at groups and things like that, but you finally ultimately decided, I'm going to start my own group. And did you want it to just be local? Was that your intent? How did that come about? What was your thought in putting that group together?
So I really, you can probably ask my wife, like I'm bad at, like, I guess, long-term visions.
Okay.
People always want to know where I see this going, but I really didn't have a vision for it. It was just, I kind of started it, and I never really wanted it to just be local. I did want it to hopefully get a bigger presence, because there's already some really great groups out there for, local alcohol groups. But yeah, I mean, for the most part, I wanted it to just kind of, my original vision was everybody would just, like, kind of post reviews, and it's now gotten to be, I don't know, more of like a cult following sort of a thing.
It really is. Yeah. I mean,
and it's not me patting myself on the back, but I think that's more of what it's become. People aren't really reviewing. It's more of, hey, I'm drinking this. And also, Alabama sucks.
Yeah.
So it's that kind of stuff.
And I don't know if I'm going too far to say it's, and I know how many members in the group now?
We're about almost 2,600.
2,600.
Yeah.
I mean, people know each other.
Yeah.
I don't know if I want to call it a family, but it's kind of like if you're in that family, if you say you're out somewhere and you're drinking and I run into somebody who has one of your hats on, or I hear them say something about bad wine reviews, I want to engage them. I want to talk to them, find out who they are. Maybe I've seen their posts or talked to them. I mean, it's kind of that tight-knit kind of group.
Yeah, and I think a lot of groups do that too. Houston Bourbon Society, I mean, you go to Specs downtown, Smith Street, someone's on the Bourbon Island, someone's talking about, HBS and this pick, that pick, and their influence on everything. So I think that's what these groups do, and I think that, I think we all see that that's what Facebook is becoming, right? I mean, less people are using the normal news feed now, and it's mostly just group focus.
Yeah, I agree with that. I don't know when the last time I shouldn't say that. I post sometimes on my regular feed.
I do
but
occasionally.
For the most part, it's in the groups.
Yeah.
Those are people I know who have the same types of interests that I have, and that's kind of where it goes.
Exactly.
Were you in any other wine groups before you started BWR?
No, so I really wasn't in a lot of groups, honestly, before, and I think I was in HBS before I started Bad Wine Reviews, in fact. But no, I have not been in a lot of other ones. I know Wine Nerds, that's just a ruthless
that's Jeremy
group
Hart,
of people that are like, and ruthless in a funny way. I mean, they those people know their stuff. I can't hold a candle to those folks.
I feel the same way. I mean, I go there just to kind of get knowledge.
Oh,
Those people know what they're talking. But everybody in that group, and it's not a huge group for being, I'll call it global, because I know he has members from all over
the place. Yeah.
But it's not huge. I think he's less than 4,000 still.
Yeah.
But these are 4,000 people that know wine.
Really, really, really well. Yeah.
And they drink stuff I wish I could drink.
Oh, I know. I know. It's embarrassing.
Yeah. So that's what got me into your group, or caught my eye when I wanted to join your group, was it was wine-based. And I hadn't seen anything around Houston that was specific to wine, and that's what kind of drove me to join that. So BWR, you just set it up as a group for people to start talking about wine.
Yeah.
How did it, it evolved. And you're talking about less than 2 years now.
Yeah.
It's evolved into something much more than that.
Yeah. No, it kind of started again along with my journey in the bourbon world, which I used to never be a bourbon guy, and now I'm, buried in it.
And you were into bourbon prior to starting this group?
Oh, slightly, yeah.
Slightly,
so
okay.
I think I started with bourbon in early 2017.
Okay.
And that's when I really started to kind of up my game and trying to learn more, was right around that Bad Wine Reviews inception time.
Okay.
So.
And BWR is not, and I keep using that, it's just easier to say than Bad Wine
No,
Reviews.
so absolutely.
It's not just local now.
No.
That was kind of your intent when you started, but it's kind of ballooned into people and friends who are around the...
Oh, we've got people all over the world. We got a pretty good base in Australia, thanks to Chris O'Mara, and he's invited his whole family. But then I think they've kind of spread it out, and people follow from there. We've got people in Asia, all over the U.S. So
I know I've invited people from my home in Missouri and all over California, where we have family, and other parts of Texas that have all joined us. It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
And they enjoy the group for the same reasons.
Yeah, no, and I made friends, had offers from people in California. Hey, if you come to Napa, you can stay with us. And Here and there, it's like, hey, if you're around, like, let us know. And I think that's what these groups do, especially these global groups. You get to know people, and that's the funniest thing when you get together. Like, you're that guy. I recognize you from your profile picture, and then that's creepy. But yeah, I mean, it's fun.
Yeah, I think it's great because I've done it myself where other members live in other towns and there's something, whether it's a wine or a bourbon or whatever you're looking for, that's been released or it's available in that market and not somewhere else. And I've had the members just be so nice to put out something. Hey, anybody want something to be muled over is what we say.
Yeah.
They've been gracious enough to do that. I think that's great. I know Sean, I think recently took some things up to somebody in Dallas, didn't he?
Yeah. It was actually some Four Roses bottles from Longhorn.
Yeah.
And I muled them to Sean. Sean muled them up to Dallas. So, yeah, I mean, that like you said, that family network is just pretty incredible.
So I'm in some other groups, and I like them, but I'm not as engaged or active in those groups. You make it fun. You make it fun to be engaged, to go ahead and participate in posting things, replying to posts and things like that. That's intentional on your part. You want to create a group like that.
Yeah, I'm not the smartest guy in the world, and I'm not, an expert on anything. And, we're all trying to learn. But at the same time, I think, in any hobby, you got to learn to laugh at yourself. It's not serious. It's not life or death. It's not the end of the world. It's just a hobby, and we should enjoy it. We don't need to be wildly serious about it. And I think that, when, as a creator, admin, or whatever, your interaction, it's not like, oh, I'm an overlord. It doesn't ever, I don't ever want it to come across like that. I want it to be, we're all just in here messing around, getting away from real life for 10 minutes at a time. So
yeah, you're just one of the members.
Yeah,
just engaging like everybody else.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Now, some of the things that you do that I really like are you've engaged everybody. I mean, you do wine tastings. Mm-hmm. You do all kinds of cool giveaways. And just talk about why you do some of them and what you do. What are some of the things you do? Wine classes?
Yeah. Sure. I think you need to find a way to separate yourself. Would I like this to turn into something bigger, especially on the money side? Like, absolutely, it would make my life a little bit better.
Sure.
But you got to find something that separates you. And I like doing giveaways and, even some big items, like we did the George T. Stag, and I've given away, some really high-end wines. And it's nice to do that because it's kind of nice to win something like that or get something that you may not ever have the chance to purchase in person.
Sure.
I mean, when I started, I really had no idea where to start to get those sorts of things. And then you slowly realize that you don't get those sorts of things. And then it's the whole strategery. Yeah. How do you get those things? And so I don't know. It's just kind of fun to do those. It's fun to do those engagement aspects. And you get to meet people. And then I think when people actually get to meet you and learn what you're about, and they kind of see, oh, this guy he means what he says, I am trying to be funny about it, make fun of myself and have a good time. And I think when people come to bottle shares and they meet up, they see that,
Totally agree. And to that point, I love the bottle shares or the events that you do. I mean, it's great. The app, it has its place for posting and giving a little bit of information. But when you get to meet up with people and you get to engage and you get to ask questions and kind of gain some of their knowledge about different things, that's what I really enjoy and appreciate. I mean, it's cool.
That's what makes all this fun.
Yeah, and it's one of the things that I really like about your group is when you have those events, my wife and I, we try to participate as much as we can, even though...
Yeah, we're 100 miles apart.
Yeah, a little bit of a hike. But your giveaways are great, but the events you do some really cool stuff too with barrel picks for bourbons. Mm-hmm. You do wine tastings. I mean, talk about how often you try to do these. What do you try to get for the members to get out of it? I know some of it's knowledge, but what is this?
So the wine tastings, like it's trial and error. It's been trial and error so far. We've done a couple things at houses. And you just got to have people, willing to host. It's like everything else as we all get older in life where, everybody's like, yeah, I'm all about it. Let's do it. And then, two people show up. So, so we're trying to figure out the best way to do them. Yeah. We used to do tastings with HEB. We're not doing those anymore. So looking down the road, there's going to be some cool developments coming up. We're going to be able to do some more wine tastings in some certain locations that I can't talk about at the moment, but we are
more centralized, maybe.
Yeah, so it's going to be kind of the same venue, we'll call it, but across the city. So we'll have more reach, and we'll be able to come and do more tasting. So we'll have centralized in Central Houston, and then we'll also have stuff.
Some availability to get out to some of the other Woodlands, Katy,
exactly,
wherever.
Exactly,
okay, that's cool.
Exactly.
That's good to know.
But yeah, I mean the wine taste, the wine tastings. We want you to buy wine. Like, that's the point of wine tasting. Like,
sure.
We want people to go and at least walk away with something. Again, it goes back to what I said originally. Like, if you taste through 15 things and you don't find one thing that you can drink, then maybe it's a you problem. And so
it's not even a maybe.
Yeah,
it's a you problem.
Yeah, and I mean, we're not. These wine tastings we have from low end to high end, and you're going to find something you like. But what we want people to get out of it is, of course, a couple bottles. But we want you to start recognizing what you like about wine.
And the wine tastings aren't blind. I mean, you put out before the event, they know what's going to be
exactly. You know what you're
poured
walking
that
into.
night. Mm-hmm. And so, to your point, there's no reason if you go, don't just go, buy some wine, man.
Yeah, and the buying the wine allows us to keep doing that stuff. And most of the time, the price to do those is significantly less than the price you're paying is significantly less than what it costs to do it. So whoever puts it on is taking a hit and wanting you to at least buy some wine. But, from a knowledge base, we just want you to start understanding what it is you like and don't like about certain wines. Don't just say you don't like red. Well, there's a reason you don't like the reds you've tried.
Right.
And that's what these classes kind of teach you.
Yeah. And I mean, when you start talking about wine, and we won't do it all now, but there's just, I mean, it's endless as. So to your point, when you say you don't like something, it's because you're probably trying the same thing over and over again, and it's not going to change.
Yeah.
You've got to get out and try some different things.
Yeah.
But I do love your events, and right now the way you're talking, it sounds like it's going to be at a commercial kind of place. Is that right?
Yeah. Okay. We've got some. I'm hoping we can start talking about it soon, but we're going to have some really, really cool places to go and taste wine, to learn classes. And just get-togethers. We'll have venues to actually get together, and it doesn't have to be like a formalized wine tasting. It could just be hey, let's all get together here, and then we can drink wine.
And then same thing would go. You're open to doing it at people's homes if they want to host.
Absolutely,
have you come out.
Yep.
The host can buy some wines, have you kind of talk about them.
Yeah,
go through, taste them.
Absolutely,
and then have some fun with you.
Yeah, and most of the time I tell people it's like if you just tell me, your budget, and tell me, if there's a certain region you want to explore, or an entire country, or just you don't know anything about wine and you want the full gamut, we can do that too.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. That's I mean, we haven't done it formally yet with you. I know we've kind of hung out with you a couple times. That's always fun.
I think we've more than killed some wine tasting.
Yeah, we're ready to do it a few more times. It's always fun to have people over and pour a few bottles. But you're doing something really cool, and I don't know if this is going to continue, if this is just kind of a once-in-a-lifetime thing, and if you got on board, good for you, and if you didn't, you missed out. You're taking a group from BWR, and you guys are going across the other side of the globe to explore Italy a little bit.
Yes.
What's going on with that?
Yeah, this is going to be an annual thing, and we may go to different countries each time, but next September we're taking a group of 12 to Piemonte, and we're going to be in the Barbaresco, Barolo areas. We're just going to go, it's flying on Sunday morning, and from Sunday to the following Friday evening, we're just going to be tasting a ton of wine, eating local food that, if you went over and did a commercialized wine trip, places you wouldn't normally go. We're going to go like cheese shops and hole in the wall places. And
those are my favorite.
And grappa, we're going to go to a grappa distillery. We're just going to go do it's an off the beaten path sort of trip, and something a little different for our members that want to go. And
I didn't know, so I'm glad to hear you say it's going to be an annual thing now.
Yes.
And so what's going to be kind of the process in deciding where you go every year? Is that going to be feedback from people? Is that going to be, how are you going to come to that?
Yeah. And we'll see at the end of that trip, obviously we'll get, what did you like? What did you not like, sort of thing, because that's very big to me. Sure. That's how you get better. And,
but that's just on the trip.
Right.
But so as far as where you go,
And well, that will matter, right? So like in where we're going, Piemonte, most of the wineries, they'll bring out cheese and meats and like, things to snack on, and it's real family oriented and real very comfortable, right? They make you feel very welcome. My other happy place in the world is like the Rhone area, like southern France with the Château de Paps and Gigondas, and those are more commercialized in the presentation. So you're not getting as much of that one-on-one with the vintner and that family. You're going to shops and you're buying wine,
right?
And you can taste through and everything. It's just so, if you get more, I would say like a trip like that might be better for more experienced wine people that are wanting to go for wine and not necessarily the experience
and the learning and
right.
Makes sense.
And it's not to say that won't be there. It's just a very different trip.
Sure.
So, and then, I would like to take a group to Argentina and hit the Mendoza area. And I'd like to go
that would be great.
I want to go to, we can go do Portugal. And then what I really want to do is get people over to like Cognac and Bordeaux.
Okay.
And do a trip there. I think, Bordeaux's massive, the massive territory. So can't cover it all, but those are the kind of trips we're looking at,
And wine regions are different, but are you trying to stay the same time of year every year when you do these?
So the one thing, the middle of summer when it's all pretty and you've got a ton of people around there, it can be very, very hot. And so it's more expensive and it's just tough, again, depending on availability. But in the fall, that's when the harvest, it's cooler. You get better weather, just in general, but it's slower season. Like there's not as many people to deal with. And then you get more of that one-on-one experience.
I love the time of year you're going. That's why I'm asking the question. I'm thinking, man, if it's that time of year, every time you plan a trip, I think that's great. I mean, obviously there might be, depending on where you end up going, but some regions that might not work. But for the most part, that's a great time of year for us.
Yeah. I think that's probably what we'll do every year.
Yeah. So I got to ask you about a region that I don't think you and I have ever really talked about, and I'm going to bring it up because I've been to this region maybe 4 or 5 years ago and was like, whatever, and went back recently about a month and a half ago, and was steered to some wineries that were supposed to be better and put out better juice, and I went, holy cow, this is pretty good. And I actually found more than a handful of places that I really liked. I'm talking about Texas Hill Country.
Sure.
What's your opinion? Have you been? Have you?
Yeah. It's been a while since I've been. But I love any group, people, area, whatever, that are trying to bring something, for others to enjoy. So like the alcohol movement in this country is just changing.
Yeah.
And it's doing it at an exponential rate. So I love what Texas Hill Country is doing, and I love that people are wanting to invest and spend the time to do that. Now, that being said, not all of them are doing it well. I mean, I've had some absolute awful wines out of there, but
there's some people just piggybacking that are just saying, "Hey, region's hot. Let's just put something in a bottle and we'll get somebody to buy it."
They're buying, crap grapes, and they're just churning out sweet garbage wine, and that's fine. It's just not for me, but there's some great wines. Lewis is probably my favorite in the area.
Okay.
Makes some amazing. You'll see that in a lot of my reviews. I like to use a phrase like "move." The wine was moving, and it's memorable. Like one of his cabs, I think it was a 2012 cab. It moved me. It was something that you would expect from France or Napa or Italy.
Sure.
So I love what they're doing. I think the experience is great. If you've never been to Fredericksburg and you can drink on the street and walk around and go to all the shops, like that is cool. And because of how small it is, and just in that little area there, I mean, I think anybody from any state would enjoy that.
That was what we kind of said when we did a review after going over, was that people who might be, up the center of the United States to the east, Texas is getting to be that. It's a nice wine country. Yeah. And you can come over and find some decent juice now. But in addition to that, I mean, you're an hour away from Austin. You're an hour away from San Antonio. You got the Alamo. You got the Riverwalk. If you want to come in the summer, you can go float a river, which is an experience, for any family that hasn't done it. That's a blast. So, I mean, it's just becoming that almost destination spot for people who want to have a family type vacation, but still be able to explore some wine. And there's some distilleries popping up all over in, Dripping Springs and over in that area as well. So it kind of covers all the bases, if you will.
Yeah.
If you're into that stuff.
Yeah, we've actually been talking about looking at some property out there.
Oh, really?
Yeah, over the next few years, like just getting, just a little small something to go over there and then hang out and make that our wine drinking house, man.
Yeah, absolutely. I have a friend that has went recently and said the same thing. But I brought it up because we were kind of on the events and the trips and that kind of stuff. And I'm going, for what would be, relatively an inexpensive trip.
Sure. For
a group from Bad Wine Reviews to go over there and have a long weekend or something, rent a big old house that sleeps 12 or 15 and just have a good old time. That might be something to look into.
We've talked about that. And it's funny you brought that up. I mean, we're looking at doing something maybe like in the like February and March timeframe, going over there and doing a nice little trip and talking with some of the wineries and seeing if they wouldn't like to do something for us. So,
I bet they would. And just getting some notoriety on your page and some reviews from other people. I mean, why wouldn't they? Who doesn't want that?
I'll be going over there for President's Day, so that was going to be my official research trip and start talking to folks and seeing if they'd be interested in doing something.
I don't know how familiar you are with Brian Waltz in BWR.
Yeah.
He's a guy who steered me to. He'd be somebody to have you probably have a lot of resources, but he's somebody who also, if you haven't been to the ones he would suggest, there might be some ones to add on to your list that were just
definitely
fantastic that we really enjoyed. And I didn't go over there expecting to buy wine. We bought wine.
So like with that, like how much of the, would you say the experience, would you say like, but making the wine better, right? Like you're sitting there and you're in really nice country. It's really nice views, and you're eating cheese and meat and hanging out. How much of that do you think impacts like the wine itself? Like,
for me, it doesn't impact the wine. I mean, to me, the wine always stands on its own. I'm gonna judge it based on what I'm getting. That adds to the ambiance of just enjoying and relaxing and making me enjoy that bottle maybe a little bit more than just sitting in the kitchen table having a glass. So I guess I'm kind of contradicting myself, aren't I? It does pay a little bit to the experience, but not to the bottle, if that makes sense.
See, I think if you went somewhere and they were not friendly,
the people, yeah.
If they were, well, no, I mean, the whole, if you walked into a crummy place and they weren't friendly, but then they brought you out some wine that was, let's call it world class, right? In this example, I think most people would probably walk away, right? I think that's what this whole.
No, you're right. I think you're exactly right. Because I've done that, and I won't say where we went, but it was recommended to us, and it was like top 2 that you're going to buy. This is a great place to get wine, and our experience with the people and everything there, the way they made us feel, wasn't warm fuzzy.
Right.
So we ended up not buying any wine and left.
Right.
So the way the people engage you, and for the most part, I don't think that's the norm in Texas. I mean, Texas as a state is a pretty fun place to people are friendly and hang out. And everywhere else we went, and it could have just been the person we were dealing with had a bad day that day. I don't know. But
that's what cracks me up about, some of these wine and spirit, like you need people that are going to, promote your product well. And I don't know, we've done that too. Like I've absolutely loved certain wines. And again, I won't mention where, but it was somewhere in Hill Country and went somewhere and it was just great wine, but man, the experience was awful.
Yeah.
And
that makes a difference. Okay. I didn't know if you just meant, because there were some wineries over there when we went, you could buy a bottle and they had some nice picnic tables and you could, either bring in your own, whatever you wanted to bring for the afternoon or buy a cheese tray or whatever and sit outside and, did that make the wine taste better? For me, no, but I enjoy that kind of setting. I think
more people are apt to like join wine clubs. They're sitting there and then they associate that wine with that experience in that moment.
Yeah.
I think most people do. I think we're all guilty of that in some way.
No, I think that's true with wine in general, that when you have a great bottle and who you have it with is that memory and what you were doing when you had it is that experience. But I guess you're right, because there are some bottles I go, it was okay, but I might tell you I liked it maybe better than it actually was because the experience I
Sure.
had that day or who I was drinking it
Yeah,
with.
yeah.
Yeah, you're right.
But I think that's what. So I know we went off on a tangent there, but I want to circle back that Texas. I think the Hill Country does that very well.
I do too.
They present like scenery, and they present an experience that makes the wine better. And so what we found is, brought all this wine home because my wife sit there was like, oh, we have to buy this case. I'm like, we don't have to buy this case. We don't have to do that. But we get home and then we drink the wine and we're like, what were we thinking? And I think it's because of the whole picture.
Yeah.
And
I think I'm saying what I'm saying because I went the first time for that reason, to experience it, and I kind of went, ooh, this is great. Same thing, got home, wasn't happy.
Why did we buy 6 bottles of this?
But this last time we went for the sole purpose of, okay, we're not going for any other reason than to try to find if there's some good wine in Texas that we like.
There we go.
And we were kind of focused on that task, and so that was kind of
So I think if we did a bad wine reviews trip, that's I think what we would want it to be. We're not going so you can have a wonderful weekend away from the kiddos, and so you can have this lovey-dovey,
That's right.
picturesque. Like, we're going to find good wine, we're going to try good wine, and we're hopefully going to buy good wine.
Yep.
And this is, I think that's how you have to look at it if we do a trip like that, because otherwise people can just go on their own.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean,
That's my point. And,
Right.
and what I've concluded is I found now that there is good wine in Texas.
there is.
Previous to that, I didn't think there was. I was like, there ain't good wine.
There is. There absolutely is.
There really is. So anyway, I know we kind of got off on that. I just
No,
want to bring
good.
Texas up because
Sure.
it's a place that I'm now kind of going, there's some potential here.
There is.
Yeah. So the next thing I wanted to talk to you about was you're doing something really cool, man. You're and I don't know where this came from and why you decided to do it. So give us the background on that. But you're creating the Bad Wine Reviews app for not just wine, not just bourbon, but any type of. What's this about?
So it's wine and spirit reviews. So basically the way I've been explaining it, and it's going to be called Cork'd. So CORK''D. And the way I've explained it is the Facebook of alcohol reviews. Okay, so no beer because it's just too much. I mean, and Untapped does a hell of a job. So maybe they'll want to buy it. So
There you go.
But complete their market. But yeah, it's the Facebook of alcohol reviews, because what it is you've got it like a news feed. And one of the cool things I envisioned is that it's a global news feed. So you have an account, you log in, and the way you've sorted your news feed, and when you log in, you can do that. You can set what you want to see first. Well, the cool thing is if there's a guy in Washington that you're not friends with and he's in the app, you can see his stuff. So, and there'll be some privacy settings and things where you can, say who you want to see. But the cool thing is with the global news feed is you can see ratings from all over the world and whoever's in the app. And then you click on it, it'll tell you all the details about it, their review. And then there's like a global rating system where you can see the average of that particular bottle throughout the whole app. So, and I think the cool thing about that is, it might be Greg again in Washington. Well, you may find that all the wines that Greg is rating you really, really like. So then now you're starting to match your palate with him.
Okay.
And so it's just that's kind of where I'm going with it. And spirits too. So it's like I said, spirits and wine. And it's got a recommend me feature where you can type in certain like parameters and it'll pull up things that match what you're looking for, price range, notes, and so that I look to evolve.
Is it just reviews, or is it a way? Is it like where you can keep what you buy and purchase also tracked in that app?
So I'm hoping. So that's not available in this release that's coming up here in December. But if our user base continues to go up and people are actually using the app, then that will be an upgrade. So that'll be in phase 2, hopefully. But if the app just flops and nobody's using it, then I'm not gonna pump more money into it to do that stuff.
Yeah, but that's in my opinion what would make it really cool, because now I use apps to track wine.
Yeah,
to know what I have in bourbons or whatever. But it'd be cool to have that all in one place.
Yeah, and the idea is so I've built the module for it basically to where what you can track all your liquor, all your wine, and then what you could do is then you can select you can select that bottle, and then you can pull it over to the ratings. So then you don't have to retype everything in.
That's
so then
nice.
once you drink it and you want to review it, you just pull it over, boom, it goes over to the ratings, and then you just fill out the review.
Oh, that's pretty cool then.
Yeah.
That's
So
very cool.
so that's going to be hopefully the next phase. But we'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see.
So are there any apps similar to what you're developing now?
Yeah, there are like Seller Tracker.
Okay.
You know, but what sets this apart is mine has a social media aspect to it, to where you can, you know, like, comment, reply. You know, you can comment on people's stuff. You can share. Right now, it's only going to have share to Facebook capabilities, but we're working on that.
So share to Facebook.
So,
Tell
like,
people what that means. So if I go ahead.
So you like, if you see someone's post that you like, you could share that review to Facebook. It'll pop up on your news feed.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and you know, so unfortunately, and a lot of apps are dealing with this, you can't really share to groups, unfortunately, because like of, I guess, security stuff. Because like if you get, you know, bad wine reviews, for example, is set to closed, and so you can't openly share things from the group. So you can't choose to share a Bad Wine Reviews app rating into the Bad Wine Reviews Facebook page, for example.
It doesn't know you're a member.
Yeah,
So you got to be in the app so that they know.
Yeah.
Okay.
So,
makes sense.
but all you can do is share the news feed.
Okay. Well, who knows? Maybe in the future that will change.
Yeah. So, but yeah, I mean, like I said, if people use it, if it's getting good membership in the app and a lot of downloads, then I'm going to pump more money into it and try to make some cooler features.
What's been the response so far? I mean, obviously, what got you to do it was what? You didn't find anything for you?
So I've always wanted to own my own business. I've always wanted to have a business. And so, you know, I'm not going to make money with just the Facebook page. And so I was like, well, let's make an app. And I've downloaded a bunch of other apps. I've looked at, like, you know, what's missing, what's different. And so I'm hoping that this kind of becomes this could turn into a business. Like,
okay.
That the app could turn into something bigger and better, and you know, to basically an Untapped, essentially.
Sure. Okay. Yeah, I didn't know kind of how that was linked. That makes perfect sense. So this isn't just an app that's going to be. It's open to anybody who wants to go find it once it's released.
Oh yeah. Yep.
This isn't just for your group.
Nope. It'll be on iOS and Android. So it'll be in the Play Store and App Store, and go in there and download it and get to rating.
And that'll be, when are you thinking that first release will
I'm
be?
hoping mid-December. Yeah, okay. We're a month behind just from editions and all sorts of other things. So hopefully we won't go past December. I can promise you that. So.
Yeah. And we want to tell people, man, when anything's released for the first time, you know, understand that there's going to be some hiccups there and there, and give it time, continue to work with it. They're going to get the changes or updates that are needed, but I think it's definitely going to be worth.
I hope so, man. I've been testing the living heck out of it.
Yeah.
So mercilessly testing and notes, and that's the big thing for me, is that, you know, if all the features aren't there, it'll be fine. I don't want it to be buggy. I don't want it to be the interface to be poor. I want it to be, that's the part that needs to be flawless, because if someone opens your app and it crashes, or someone opens it and, you know, this button doesn't work, or this doesn't go anywhere, or this
goes to the wrong place.
Yeah, I mean, people, you know, nowadays people will uninstall it and be done with it within 5 minutes.
Right.
So those are the kinds of things that are important on that first release.
Okay.
At least to me. So.
Well, what else about BWR? Is there anything else I haven't brought up or talked about? I mean, we want to tell everybody to go join. So find Bad Wine Reviews on Facebook. I mean, you're looking for new members all the time to kind of join and contribute. Bringing
something new, you know, and I love, you know, people have offered, hey, I'll do a bottle share. Let's do a Bad Wine Reviews bottle share at my house, and I'm in the Heights, or I'm here, I'm there, and you know, some things coming down the line. I think we're gonna look at doing a big crawfish boil out towards my way.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, but you can rent, like, you know, party spaces there pretty cheap that fit a lot of people. So I was looking at doing, you know, maybe getting with Chris from HBS and seeing if they want to do a Bad Wine Reviews HBS crawfish boil.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
And bottle share thing. And then you know, I'll be at the Whiskey Social in February.
That's a big thing.
Yeah, and that is the place. You know, they do a really good job with it, and
that's Christopher.
Yeah,
Hart puts that on.
Yes, he does, and it's the best. It's the best spirits event that I've been to. But it's nice getting to meet everybody finally. You'll walk by and you're like, oh, you're so and so. see your profile. And
that's on a bigger scale, but that's my point to doing the bottle shares with you and other people in the group, that we get to do that. Is it's nice to go meet the people. I just made that comment to Sean today. He asked me how it was with you guys last night. I said bourbon was great, but it's cool to meet some of the other people in the group face to face and get to visit with them a little bit.
Absolutely. So that to me is the importance of all these events.
The other thing I want to say about your group, I mean, obviously it's wine and it's bourbon. That's kind of what we talked about the most, but that's not the only thing. I mean, anything alcohol related, anything food related. I mean, it's because they kind of go hand in hand, right?
I think
food and wine, food and bourbon. I mean, you're having a beer while you're cooking on a barbecue, whatever it is, it's all fair game on your side.
Yeah, and and now what to do, some we'll call it what's the word I was looking for there was so disclaimer, what I do like, if you're gonna post a picture, put at least some booze in there, like just like I like what you do, like you'll post all your food pics, but you'll have like what you drank, with it. Like I don't, not that it doesn't look good, but I don't care about your just your pasta. Like what did you have with your pasta?
That's right.
So like post something with that. And then no memes. I don't want it to turn into a meme page.
Yep.
And even articles, I'm kind of like, I'm kind of on the fence about articles, but otherwise like just pictures and funny posts or, information sharing, things like that. That's what I want it to be. And that's what I hope people will get out of it.
And what you just said, it's booze. So it's tequila, it's rum,
everything,
it's
beer,
bourbon, it's brandy, it's cognac, it's whatever you want. Yeah, and I found some great craft beers that people were drinking. I mean, I just went and bought one I forget the name of it, Darryl, but somebody in your group posted about a German beer that I like dark beers. I think it was a stout. And I went and found it at Specs, and I was like, shit, I'm going to try this.
Nice.
Yeah, so even craft beers and things like that you find on there is pretty cool.
Oh, yeah, and people, people have got some great recommendations, and I know, people have clearly gained knowledge, and then what I love seeing is after people take a recommendation, they go get it. They're like, wow, thank you. And they'll post like, having this, and they're like, went and bought another case. Yeah. That's so cool, and I do that too. Like people give me recommendations and I go try stuff. So,
and I think if I'm probably accurate here, your two favorite things were Natter Days and White Claw.
So I never actually drank like a lot of White Claw. Like the White Claw surge just became a thing, and I'd only had it like.
I'm just kidding. Man.
No, Natter Days, yes, boy, I drink some Natter Days. I love me some Natter Days.
I knew you did, but
if you don't like,
that's why I said that first. I threw the White Claw in there just to.
Yeah, but that's what I was trying to kind of figure out. I'm like, what? I didn't drink any White Claw, but then once it became a thing, I was like, fine, I'm just gonna start chugging them, and when I go tailgate, so.
I'm going to tell everybody, when you do join this group, it's a fun group, and you do it periodically, and it's one thing I always enjoy, and it's not even on a weekend per se. It can be during the week, but your 2-minute reviews. Where did you come up with that idea? I mean, it's great because just what are you drinking, and I'm going to give you a review on it, and it's not a serious thing. So people, when you join, understand it's a kind of a little humorous thing.
Oh,
it's fun. Have thick skin. It's not.
That's my favorite. Like I haven't done it in a while.
I've missed it.
My new job. I'm driving downtown now, so a little later getting home. But
I'm going to cut you off just real quick. That means maybe you should move closer this way.
No,
if you're downtown.
No.
You're good where you're
my
at.
commute in the east is way better.
Gotcha.
Oh my gosh.
Gotcha.
But no, the 2-sentence reviews. So people will post what they're drinking, and then I'll just tear them apart. Yeah. It's never positive, regardless of how good it is. But it's so funny watching new people post something, and I just shred them.
Yep.
And they're like, well, I think it's really good.
You got me the first time you did that. I mean, you got me. I was like, what the hell, dude? This is good shit I'm drinking. Yeah. So you got me on that. But now I get it. Yeah. And I post and go, okay, let's see what he comes up with this. And
man.
You're very creative at that. I'm impressed at how quick you are to come up with something different. Because it's not like, 4 or 5 people are posting something. You get 100 or more people in the matter of minutes throwing stuff up there.
Yeah. Now I'll probably be able to do it this week because my wife and kids are not in the house, so I'll have some time. So yeah, I think we'll bring that back this week. Look for like Tuesday or Wednesday maybe.
That'll be fun.
Yeah.
What else? Anything else we want to talk about before we?
No, man. I appreciate you having me. Like I know people can't see it, but this spread is incredible. But no, I'm glad you're doing this. I think it's really cool. I think, like you said, alcohol and food just kind of go together, and
it brings people together, man. That's what it's
it
about.
does.
Most importantly, is to experience those things with friends.
Yeah, and I'm a very social guy, and I like getting together. I like doing this stuff. I like sharing, and as you could, I know you had to leave a little early last night, but as people found out, the more drunk you get me, the more willing I am to open things I shouldn't open.
Saw that.
Yeah. I'll start to open things. So come to those events and hang out with us.
Absolutely. Well, definitely get out to Facebook. Find Darryl on Facebook, and the group is Bad Wine Reviews. It's a really fun group to belong to, and just participate in. If you don't want to jump right in and participate, just follow it for a few days, and you'll get comfortable. You're willing to throw some stuff up there. It's a lot of fun. Appreciate you, Darryl, joining us.
Yeah, man. Thank you very much for having me.
Yeah, on this episode of Food, Wine, and Whiskey in Your Own Backyard. And until our next episode, enjoy your next pour.